Well, the man accused of the biggest leak of classified information in U.S. history had his day in court today. 24-year-old Army Private Bradley Manning was arraigned in a military court in Fort Meade, Maryland. He faces a slew of charges, including aiding the enemy. Today, Manning deferred his plea. He allegedly gave hundreds of thousands of secret documents and cables to the whistleblowing website WikiLeaks. Some celebrate Manning as a hero for exposing the truth behind military operations. His critics say he put lives at risk by making the secret information public. But as he faces a military judge, some question if Manning stands a chance at a fair trial, especially when you have the President of the United States saying this.
We're a nation of laws. We don't individually make our own decisions about how the laws operate. No, he's fine. He's fine. I mean, he's being courteous and he's asking questions. No, he broke the law.
So at this point, is a fair trial even possible for the whistleblower? Joining me now is Kevin Zeese, organizer of the October 2011 movement. Hi there, Kevin. Nice to see you.
Good to see you, Liz.
So we just heard it from President Obama himself. Manning, quote, broke the law. So when you have the commander-in-chief making that declaration, how much of a chance does Manning have at a fair trial?
I think that's a great question. I think it's one that the judge should consider and dismiss the case. President Obama is the commander-in-chief. All of the jurors in this case will be officers in the military. The judge, the prosecutor, everybody in that courtroom will be under his command. I can't imagine anyone thinking they'd have much of a career left in the military if they came out and found Manning not guilty after the commander-in-chief has said he's guilty. This is called undue command influence in military law, and this is unlawful, and it should be enough reason to dismiss the case.
And in addition to that, some say he's already faced harsh punishment. He was held for 19 months while he was awaiting for his day in court. Allegedly, he was tortured while he was in custody, subject to forced nudity. So, I mean, is he being punished before even being tried?
Yeah, we're almost 2 years into his arrest. For a year of that time, he was held in solitary confinement, which would be torture in most countries. They did take away his clothes from him as well during that time period. They have not provided his attorney with all the videos and documents requested concerning how Manning was treated. That's one area of many where Manning's lawyer is being kept in the dark. I think that should be something considered to affect the outcome of this case. I think it's another example of why we're unlikely to see a fair trial. If Manning is found not guilty and he was tortured beforehand, it's even worse if he's found guilty.
And you, Kevin, like many, see Manning as a hero. Just this month, he was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize by the Icelandic Parliament. But what about the argument that he put American lives at risk by making the information public? Because by entering the military, you do take this oath of honor, and he violated that oath. What do you make of that argument?
Well, this is a case of very low-level classified documents. In fact, there's questions as to whether they should have been classified at all. The documents have been released. They've been released fully, including with the names of everyone mentioned in the documents, and no one's been injured from it. No, there's been no troops killed. There's been no troop movements known about, no strategies of troops. These are very low-level documents. This is another area, by the way, where the court marshals refused to provide Manning's lawyer with information as requested. He's requested information about the internal reviews done by the White House, the State Department, and the Pentagon concerning the impact of this release. That's not been provided to him. He's requested the opportunity to cross-examine the people who classify the documents to understand their rationale, because if documents don't have a negative effect on national security, they shouldn't be classified. And so Manning's essentially being prosecuted for allegedly leaking documents that probably should not even have been classified and had no adverse national security effect, and he's facing life in prison for that. This is, I think, really an overstepping by the military, but the refusal to provide the information that Manning's lawyer wants shows that we're going into what's very likely a kangaroo court with the outcome already known.
Going along with that argument, Kevin, what would happen if people were to follow in Bradley Manning's footsteps and the military, then how would they know that their secret documents could in fact stay secret, especially highly classified information when, when where members of the military are leaking these documents. And for, like, what does this set a precedent for it to be okay in the future?
Well, I think the reason why we're seeing a kangaroo court, why we're seeing Manning tortured for a year in solitary confinement, is to send a very clear message to anybody who attempts to follow in his footsteps. I think they're really trying to show anyone we can do anything we want to you, including give you a fake trial in front of the whole world. So I think that's part of the effort here, is to prevent that. But you have to remember, these were documents where hundreds of thousands of people had legal access to these documents. There was very little security with these documents. There's pictures from Frontline, has video showing the computer terminals where these documents were accessed with the passwords and codes in order to get into the documents. But yet we have to also realize that when Daniel Ellsberg released the Pentagon Papers, those were very high-level secrets, and even those were not releasing any national security information that should have been kept secret. All we're finding out from even the highest level secret of the Pentagon Papers and the lowest level secrets that Manning's accused of is crimes, unethical behavior, misbehavior by U.S. foreign policy. We're showing how corporations and the government work closely together to support corporate profit rather than public interest. We're showing all sorts of inappropriate behavior by people like Secretary of State Clinton, who ordered U.S. diplomats to spy on UN officials when they came to meetings in the United Nations. That's illegal. Yet she's not being prosecuted. Manning, who is accused of essentially telling the truth, is being prosecuted and facing life in prison, while people who commit war crimes and other crimes are not being prosecuted at all.
All right, Kevin, lastly, I want to ask you, what do you think it would take for justice to be served in this case?
Well, I think the only way you can have justice in this case now is to recognize that President Obama and his undue command influence, combined with the fact that these were very low-level secret documents that should not have been classified in the first place, that had no negative effect on national security, all that adds up to drop the charges. Manning's already been punished more than he should have been. It's time to put this behind us and not embarrass the U.S. military and U.S. government any further with a kangaroo court proceeding.
And one more question there, Kevin. What does this all have to say about whistleblowers in the U.S. and the message being sent out to potential whistleblowers in the future?
Well, I think it's saying that President Obama is not honest with us when he says he wants to have the most open administration in history, that he respects whistleblowers and that kind of political rhetoric, because his actions are quite the opposite. His administration has been the most closed, most aggressive at going after whistleblowers, and I think it shows the American people in the world that this is a closed government, a secret government that doesn't even tell its citizens the truth when we're supposed to be the ones that are in charge of this government.
Kevin, nice to have you on as always. That was Kevin Zeese,
Thank you,
organizer for the October 2011 movement.